Zogby is with Zogby Analytics and, of course, Zogby Strategies. And there's a new job approval rating out there. And Trump supporters are going to be quite happy with this number. Good morning, John Zogby. Glad to have you back on the radio.
Hey, good to talk to you again, Bill. How are you?
Good. So this is his overall rating. I don't expect to move all that much because it does seem that people are dug in more so than ever. Would you agree with that?
They are,
yeah.
And there's very little movement, and there's been very little movement, within 7 or 8 points. But, this new poll by my son clearly, shows that the president has gotten a bump ever since the Mueller report.
Which is really interesting. And this is in the category, correct me if I'm wrong, the category of job approval.
Job approval, yep, which is the main barometer that we use. 51% is the number. Other than Rasmussen, that's the highest number that we've seen. Here and there have been a couple of other polls that have put the president up at about 47 or 48. Rasmussen, generally is higher. Zogby and Rasmussen have usually tracked at around the same.
All right. So this is basically saying that despite wherever you are on this Mueller report, people are giving him, at least half the country is giving him a thumbs up here right now.
Yeah, and I should say that if you take a look at all of the polls, the upward trajectory is existent in almost all of them. So I mean, take, for example, NBC News came out with a 46%, Gallup 46% since the Mueller report, and in both instances, that was the highest rating that they had ever had.
I want to ask you, if I could, about politics in general. We're watching this type of blow 'em up type political style that the president has really created, trickle down into the local races. You now have a candidate who's running against Tony Picenti and Dave Gordon, who's coming out and talking about some affair, says he has proof. When he presents the proof, it is not proof at all. It's a conversation that doesn't even mention people by names. The person supposedly responsible for the conversation, at least one half of that, says, I don't even know what he's talking about. Yet we're all covering it. We're all talking about it. And even the county executive had to come out yesterday and give a press conference to say that this just isn't true. What are your thoughts? And have we reached a new low?
No, there's always been lows here and there. We just have, a wider assortment of media, to make these kinds of rumors and stories available. And then when they percolate, say, from social media or topics and become office conversations, almost a compulsion then by mainstream media then to have to cover it. But the bottom line is, to Mr. Gordon, who I don't know and not sure that I would recognize him if I saw him on the street, the rule in politics is get yourself liked. Get people to know you, and if you can, do the 1-2. Get people to know you, and then if you're fortunate enough, get them to like you. Then they will start perhaps believing you. But the key question is, despite the fact that Mr. Gordon may have been out there and run a few races, who are you? And why should anything you say be of any importance whatsoever? And I think he's making a huge mistake for himself in dealing in rumors.
And it is interesting too, because this is a guy that ran as a Democrat just a few races ago, who is out in interviews saying that he supports Bernie Sanders and he supports the policies of Bernie Sanders. So how do you go from there to a conservative? It almost seems as if you're going to say whatever you need to say in order to fit in and hopefully get elected.
And I'm just going to simply declare that we've probably given him more time than he actually deserves.
Yeah.
Most people don't know who he is. He's got to build up his own credibility factor, and the way to do that is to get out there, not with rumors and not with silliness, and also not running for every office that's available.
Right. Are you surprised that Tony Picenti came out and went public on this yesterday and finally held a press conference?
You know something, I have to admit to you, I've been out of town, and I haven't heard anything at all about this, and I don't know that I really want to discuss it.
You might be a little better. You might be a little better off, to be honest. So, all right, this latest poll that's out from Zogby, Zogby Strategies, has the president's approval rating at 51, just over 50%, 51%. That's a big story there, John.
He's going to be hard to beat. Not impossible to beat by any stretch. But it's going to be a very competitive race.
Are you surprised by Biden's early lead over Bernie Sanders?
No, this is a seasoned guy. At this moment in time, what Democrats are saying is we want to win. And while half of the party is clearly progressive, it does look like Sanders is slipping, not only nationally, but I think very significantly. He's supposed to own New Hampshire. Remember, he won New Hampshire. And at one point this year, he was leading in New Hampshire substantially over Biden and Elizabeth Warren. The fact that he has slipped there, too, suggests that, maybe his time has come and gone.
And for Biden, with such a big lead, obviously we've not even gone through the debates. People shouldn't call this a race at this point. There's a long way to go. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
A long way to go. He could slip. He could, this is the thing I'm watching carefully, raise expectations for himself to a point where he can't meet those expectations.
Right.
So, if you see his numbers, if he sees his numbers go up 40, 45% in a race where there's 23 other candidates, that's every reason to worry, because I'm going to state this, there's no way that he could match those poll numbers in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Very interesting, John. We appreciate it as always. John Zogby from Zogby Strategies. Thanks so much.
Thank you.